Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I wanted to talk about my all-time favorite trope, which is childhood friends to strangers to lovers. So in this video, I wanted to talk about 3 books that follow this trope. So let's get started. So the first book that I wanted to talk about is called When Fate Breaks by Nikki Witt. So this is what the book looks like and what the cover looks like. It's written by Nikki Witt, fellow YouTuber here. I have been watching her videos for a few months now, and I realized that I have a very similar taste in books as her and same opinions as her. And so when I heard that she has published a book, I decided to support her by purchasing her novel on Amazon, and I have no regrets about it because it is one of my favorite reads. So if you're not familiar, it follows a girl named Annie Jacks. She is about 2 months away from her wedding, and her future husband inherits a house from his grandmother, and at the back of the house there is a greenhouse that has been destroyed because it hasn't been taken care of for many years and it has sort of been abandoned. And Annie really wants to renovate it so she could use it in the future. While she is packing away her things in the new house, she comes across this memento that reminds her of the perfect person to help her renovate the greenhouse, and that person happens to be Blake DeFazio. Blake is someone that is from her childhood, and she hasn't spoken to him in many years. But she gives him a call and he agrees to travel from New York to Alabama to help her renovate the greenhouse. So he lives with her. They end up reconnecting from there. I ended up giving this a 5-star. I really liked progression of their relationship throughout the years that they've known each other, and also just like the angst that they have between the two characters. Loved it. It was so good. And I definitely recommend anybody who's interested in reading sort of like a slow burn romance to give this a shot. It is on Kindle Unlimited, so if you have that platform, that is something that you can read it on. But you could also purchase the book off of Amazon and Barnes & Noble if you're from the States. Next book I want to talk about is called All I Ask by Corinne Michaels. So this is what the cover looks like. So this book follows Tegan, Berkeley, and also Derek. Not sure what his last name is, but they basically start off like as enemies in high school. They don't really know each other in high school because Tegan and Derek sort of come from different group of friends, so they never really interact in high school. Tegan is more of a popular girl and Derek is more like a nerdy guy, so their paths never cross. But in high school, Tegan is asked to tutor Derek, and they soon become friends from that interaction. And eventually Tegan ends up actually like falling for him. But at the time, Tegan is with a different guy, and so she doesn't really want to admit that to herself and admit that to Derek that she has feelings, so she keeps it bottled up. And once they graduate high school, Tegan finds out that she's pregnant, so she sort of thinks that her chance with Derek is over, and at the same time, Derek has moved on to a different relationship with a girl named Megan. Megan and Derek eventually get married, and something happens during that period of time that causes Derek and Tegan to not speak to each other for many years. Like 13 years later, Tegan has a daughter now that's 13, and she is living in their small town that they grew up in, and Derek ends up moving back to the small town, and that's kind of what becomes a catalyst again for them to reconnect. Really enjoyed this book because you again got to see the progression of their relationship, see the connection that the two characters have with one another. So again, I gave this a 5-star. The third book I want to talk about is Swear on This Life by Renee Carlino. So this book follows Emmeline and Jason. They grew up together in rural Ohio. They grew up as next door neighbors. So they form a bond and a friendship with one another as children. And then something happens that causes them to not speak to each other for many years. So flash forward 10 years later, they're both writers, and Emmeline comes across a book and she reads it and she realizes that that book is very similar to her own life experiences. So she does like more research on the book, and she realizes that that book is written by her friend Jason, and it again becomes like a catalyst for them to reconnect through the book. And I just thought again that this book was really, really well written. The romance itself is not the main plot of the story. There's other topics that are discussed in the book that don't revolve around the romance, which I liked. How this one was a little bit different, and how there's other things that were covered that don't revolve around the two main characters, and the two main characters being together, if that makes sense. So again, I give this a 5-star. Renee Carlino also has another book called Before We Were Strangers that also has the childhood friends to lovers trope. I really want to read it, but I haven't gotten the chance to do that yet. So that's definitely on my to be read list. I also do want to read Every Summer After by Carley Fortune, I believe. It is similar to Love in Other Words, which I have read. So I do want to give that one a shot as well and see what all the hype is about, because I know that it's very popular, and so I do want to read it during the summertime. I do have that on hold at the library here, so hopefully it comes during that time, but there's a lot of people who also want to read it as well. So yeah, those are the 3 books that I wanted to talk about. Please comment down below like any other recommendations you have for me that have that same trope, because again, that's my favorite. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.